When the German attack came, the Soviet Union was not ready. Not for the speed, not for the firepower, and certainly not for the ideology marching behind it. Operation Barbarossa began at 3:15 a.m. on June 22, 1941. A storm that would shatter the world. In those early months, Soviet soldiers saw something unlike anything they had ever been taught to fear. Perfectly drilled troops, their hands thrust upward to the heavens, as if proclaiming their right to rule. A salute that did not merely greet, it commanded. The Hitler salute was meant to symbolize a master race, a force destined, they believed, to conquer. But when the Red Army first faced this symbol up close, and when Soviet soldiers captured Germans, and sometimes even imitated their gestures, the meaning changed, and every thought running through their minds would shape the coming struggle. This is the story of what Soviet soldiers thought when they first held the Hitler salute, before Stalingrad, before the turning tide, when the future of the world was balanced on a knife's edge. Soviet Private Dmitry Veselov had been asleep when the first explosions hit Brest Fortress. His diary would describe it as thunder tearing the sky apart. No warning, no negotiations, just fire, planes bearing black crosses, soldiers with lightning bolt insignia, new weapons no Soviet soldier had seen before. And then, the salute. German officers, shouting commands, snapped their arms across the battlefield, their men responding with perfect unity. Heil Hitler! To Soviet soldiers, this was not just a command, it was a declaration of contempt. It was a gesture saying, "We are above you. We will replace you." Those who survived that first day remembered the arrogance most of all. A Soviet warrant officer wrote, "They raised their arms as if we were animals beneath them, but they forgot. Animals bite." Yet, in the first weeks, biting back seemed impossible. The Nazi salute echoed across every step the invaders took. Town after town fell. Civilians who once lived under Stalin's iron fist watched a new kind of terror replace it. German troops saluted confidently in occupied squares, surrounded by burning homes and screaming families. The salute was meant to reassure local populations of German supremacy, to convince them that resistance was futile. Soviet troops were stunned at how deeply the ideology seemed to command obedience. It was drilled into every German gesture, every action, every bullet. Private Anatoly Kiselev wrote, "They salute like priests of a dark religion. Their god is victory, and they will kill anyone who doubts it." To the Soviets, the salute symbolized something even more terrifying than guns: unbreakable belief. As German encirclements swallowed entire armies, the Red Army experienced something unprecedented: mass surrender. More than 3 million Soviet soldiers would be captured within the first 6 months. Among the prisoners, the salute was everywhere, guards using it to humiliate and dominate. Captured soldiers remembered German officers forcing them to watch. When a superior approached, up came the rigid arms. Heil Hitler, organized, efficient, terrifying. A captured Soviet lieutenant overheard German soldiers boasting, "Our salute is a sword. It cuts down the weak." But something else happened too. Some Soviet POWs, beaten, starved, desperate, started copying the salute out of survival. Others used it mockingly. One soldier in a POW camp raised his arm and shouted, "Heil Stalin!" He was beaten nearly to death, but his defiance echoed. The salute was not invincible. July 1941. Smolensk. For the first time, German blitzkrieg stalled. For the first time, Red Army troops had room to breathe and fight back. Soviets overran a German forward position, taking prisoners. For some soldiers, it was their first time seeing Nazis up close, not symbols of invincibility, but frightened young men. A Soviet sergeant named Grigory Chernov described the moment. "They froze when they saw us. Their hands twitched, as if wanting to salute their savior. But there was no Führer here, only us. One prisoner still tried to raise his arm. The Soviet soldiers laughed. The salute had lost its power, if only for a moment. Chernov wrote, "If they are masters, why do their hands shake like ours?" Soviet political officers immediately recognized the danger. The salute was not just a gesture, it was a message. You are inferior. So they fought back, with words, posters, speeches. They taught soldiers to shout, "Death to the fascist invader." The Red Army was told, "The Nazi salute is slavery disguised as pride. Hitler wants to erase Slavs from the earth. This is not a battle for land, it is a battle for existence." And Soviet soldiers began to believe it. One wrote, "Their salute tells us we are weak, but the motherland gives us strength. We will answer their salute with bullets." As summer turned to fall, the Germans marched deeper and deeper, but their arrogance remained high. Soldiers saluted across frozen fields, in burning villages, before the Kremlin itself. Hitler believed Moscow would fall in weeks. But Soviet soldiers had changed. What once frightened them now fueled them. Corporal Ivan Petrov was among the defenders of Tula. After capturing a German lieutenant, he found Nazi leaflets describing Slavs as subhumans. Petrov wrote, "He saluted like a king, but inside his pocket was proof he feared our blood. If we were truly weak, why write so many lies?" The salute no longer inspired terror, it inspired rage. November 1941. Outside Moscow, a German platoon surrendered, frostbitten, starving, exhausted. One young soldier instinctively lifted his arm in the Hitler salute. His hand shook violently. A Soviet captain barked, "Put that hand down. Here, that gesture won't save you." Witnesses remembered how hollow the salute looked when fear filled the eyes behind it. The Soviets were learning a crucial lesson. Ideology can fuel conquest, but fear will always betray it. The Red Army launched a massive counterattack. Moscow was saved. For the first time, German troops retreated. As Soviet soldiers pushed the enemy back, they found posters and manuals explaining the salute's true purpose: to show racial dominance, to erase personal identity in favor of the Führer, to force unity through ritual. One propaganda sheet stated, "The arm raised is a sword of loyalty to Hitler." Soviet soldiers called it the arm of arrogance. But they also discovered German soldiers who secretly despised it. A captured officer admitted, "We salute out of fear, not respect." The symbol was cracking. As the German army froze and starved outside Moscow, Soviet morale surged. The Hitler salute, once a terrifying icon, became a joke among some trenches. Soldiers mocked it, raised their arms and shouted, "Heil our stove! Heil the vodka! Heil the lice!" Humor was survival. Mockery was rebellion. A Soviet private said, "Their salute is a threat. Our laughter is a weapon." By early 1942, the war was far from over. The Germans still held vast territory. Their salute still dominated half of Europe. But Soviet soldiers now understood the truth. The salute did not make the Nazis stronger. It exposed their weakness. A belief so fragile it required constant reinforcement. A gesture so insecure it demanded obedience from millions. The Red Army saw through the illusion. A raised arm cannot stop a bullet. A salute cannot conquer a nation that refuses to kneel. That year, the war would descend into something far worse. 500,000 Soviets would fall at Stalingrad, a city where the salute would become meaningless, buried beneath rubble, smoke, and the unbreakable will of the defenders. Before Stalingrad, before the turning point, Soviet soldiers had already decided what the salute truly meant. It was not superiority. It was not destiny. It was not a symbol of inevitable victory. It was a target. A Soviet sniper wrote, "Let them salute. A raised arm is easier to hit." The Hitler salute promised domination. Soviet soldiers promised resistance, and resistance would win. This is what they thought. The salute was not frightening. It was insulting. Not powerful, but pathetic. Not eternal, but doomed. Before Stalingrad, Soviet soldiers raised their own ritual, not in a gesture, but in a vow. They would never bow, not to a salute, not to Hitler, not to anyone, and history proved them right.